Hi, I'm Dimitrie Metzeltin and welcome to this video on the Mackie DLZ Creator, an adaptive digital mixing console for podcasters, broadcasters and many more. We've been interviewing a lot of people in the podcasting and broadcasting world, and as always, we've taken all their suggestions very seriously. So let's take a look at what this mixer has to offer and what makes it so unique. In this presentation I go from inside to the outside because we have a lot of things built inside here, and I go onto the touch screen here and I talk about the different modes that we've built inside. Because one thing is that this mixer could be used by audio engineers, by professionals, but this also can be used by journalists and people that don't have an engineering background. These people want an easy setup so that they don't get confused with too many parameters and with too many features. So I activate the easy mode here, and on top of that we have our setup assistant, which activates Mix Agent. And Mix Agent is like a little audio engineer sitting inside of the Mackie DLZ Creator. And let's see what this does. I go on Next, and the first step is that I'm being asked to set up the faders right somewhere in the middle here, our 100mm faders. Okay, next, then I have the headphone setup. Please connect up to 4 pairs of headphones to the jacks 1 to 4. So we have 4 headphone outputs, and on those 4 headphone outputs I can send 4 different mixes basically. So 4 independent headphone mixes are possible here. What's nice about the setup here is as soon as I go on Next, the desk will play back some music, and I can then adjust the levels accordingly with our smart knobs here. So I go on Next, there's some music playing here in the background, and I adjust the levels to the levels I want for the headphones that are connected here. Next step, and it tells me, okay, connect your inputs 1 to 4, and on inputs 1 to 4 we have our combo inputs. So this means that I can connect microphones, but I can also connect line signals and instrument signals as well. And we are featuring our brand new Automix 80 preamps. So most of you might know our renowned Automix preamps, and these here are brand new because they feature 80 dB of gain. So even dynamic microphones with a very low output can be set to the right level without using an extra preamp. Alright, I go on Next. And here I can choose the input source. So this could be different microphones, different microphone types like dynamic microphones, condenser mics. And we also have some presets for specific microphones like the Mackie EM99B that I have here. So I choose that preset and I go on Next, and I can set up the level right here. If I would have a condenser mic, I could activate here my, my phantom power. And a nice feature here is that I have a button saying listen and set for me. If I touch that on the screen, then the gain will be set automatically for me. So this helps me to set the gain without knowing how to set up a gain basically, but it also helps me being a professional audio engineer, being a bit quicker with the setup, because I don't have to listen, oh, can you please talk a little bit, and then I adjust the levels. Just, you know, go and talk, then hit this button here, listen and set for me, and the gain is set automatically for you. Okay, and then we go through the different inputs. So input 2 source, input 3 source, and set up the levels and so on. If I don't have something connected, I can simply also skip through this field, and I come to the next channels. So next to the 4 combo inputs, we also have a stereo jack input, so stereo line input where I can connect line cables. So that's channel 5 and 6. Here I can choose if that should be the line input that I'm using or the USB return 1 and 2 from your Mac or PC. Then on channel 7 and 8 we're featuring a stereo mini jack input on top of that. So here I could connect, you know, any playback device or my smartphone, or this could be also your return 3 and 4 coming from the computer. So this means I have 2 stereo returns coming from your computer into the Mackie DLZ Creator. And on channel 9 and 10, I then can choose if I want to playback from Bluetooth This could also be your smartphone that is connected through Bluetooth. For example, you could take a caller on your phone into your podcast, into your live podcast, into your live stream, have the caller connected through Bluetooth, through your phone, and we have an automatic mix minus for that as well, so that the caller doesn't have any echoes when he's talking to you. Alternatively, I can here choose to use a USB stick, which I can connect on the backside, or my SD card, which I also can connect on the backside. So a lot of input choices here, and I hit next, and then it will ask me for the additional devices, as you see here. So you see input 5 and 6 for the line ins, here the mini jacks, the SD card, and so on. So just what I've been talking about. And then last but not least, on channel 11 and 12, we have our sample pads. So we have 6 sample pads and we have 4 banks, so I can load in 24 samples in total, and this comes on an extra channel with its own 100mm fader, and I then can simply choose the samples and play back samples here on my sample banks on this extra channel. And then the DLZ Creator will ask me, so if you want to connect your speakers, do that now, and be careful when turning up the volume, as microphone feedbacks can occur. So the ones that are not used to set things up and that are not audio engineers might experience some feedback, and this tells you, okay, you have to look at the levels, otherwise you get some feedback from the microphones. And then you're all set up. So we're still in the easy mode, we're set up here, and in the easy mode I can still also work on different things here. For example, I can go into the channel and then choose another preset for this channel, for example. But there's not much more that I can do. As I said, this is good for starters, for beginners that don't want to get confused about, parameter settings in the EQs and so on. So let's see what we can do with the other modes. So I go to enhanced mode now. And as soon as I'm in the enhanced mode and I look into the channel settings, I see a little bit more. So here I can choose between dynamic and condenser mic. I can then also activate a delay or a reverb right here. And on the advanced controls, it shows me the high pass filter, then a simple 3-band EQ, which I can just adjust right here with my fingertip. I can activate the noise gate, I can activate a compression, and I have a type of a one-knob compressor where I can add more or less compression. And on all these channels we also are offering a de-esser, so I can activate the de-esser right here. So this means that in the enhanced mode I have a couple more features that I can set up, and it's also useful if you want to just be quick with your setup and just add some EQ and add some compression there. And in the Pro mode, the DLZ Creator then unveils all the DSP power that we have built inside. So when I go in here now into the channel, I see I have a reverb send, I have a delay send, I go into the EQs, and then you see that we're featuring a full band, a 3-band full parametric EQ that I can adjust again with my fingertips right here graphically on our 10.1 inch screen. And I can not only adjust it with my fingertips, but I also can use the smart knobs. So that's why we call it smart knobs. Depending on the screen that I am, these knobs change the function. So right here I can now change the frequencies of my EQ, change the Q factor and things like that, or change the high pass filter. If I would go to the gate right here, I then can choose the threshold right here or adjust the threshold with the smart knob. So some people might prefer to use the smart knobs. You can do both, so it's your choice. Same thing with the compressor. So also here, adjust your threshold, adjust your ratio, just like that. And last but not least, we have the de-esser where I can choose which frequency I want to de-ess here, which is the most prominent S in our in our audio. Okay, and all these features, I just leave it maybe in the EQ, are available on all the channels. So not only on the microphone channels, I can also adjust the EQ for all the other inputs right here. The only thing that we're missing on our line inputs and USB returns are the de-esser, but we have the EQ, we have gate, and we have compression on all those channels as well. So that's really cool to have. So a lot of DSP power. And if I want to go sure, I can also just say bypass all processing. Maybe I want to play back some music and I forgot that I have some, EQs and compressors set up there. I just hit this here, bypass all processing, and the signal goes on 1-to-1, uncompressed and uneq'd. Okay, let's take a look at some more highlights of the DLZ Creator. Another highlight for me are the headphone buses. So when I'm in the main view, I can choose the headphone buses here, and the smart knobs are now connected to the headphone output level. And we are featuring different modes for every single headphone output. And you see that it's already jumping into different modes. So the standard mode would be a copy of your main mix, basically. So I have my main mix here, also represented by these little dots here on the screen. And I can simply adjust my faders here. As I said, we have 100mm faders, very nicely built. And when I go to another headphone channel, I can say I want here to have my quick mix. So quick mix is like having your main mix, but then I still can adjust the levels of the single channels. So this means you have an output right away because it's basically a copy of your main mix, but then you still can say, okay, I want my voice a little bit lower and I want the voice of the guest a little bit higher, for example. And on top of that, we also have a custom mix. And custom mix means I have a total independent pre-fade headphone mixing control here, where I can then adjust the levels exactly how I want to have it. And as I said, I can do this per headphone bus. So this is really nice to have. And we have a little extra feature here where I can send this mix then to the USB output 3 and 4. So this means that I can make another mix, separate mix for your PC input or Mac input here. Okay, talking about highlights and what makes this mixer so unique is also our Automix feature. So what does Automix mean? Let's say you're having a discussion on a podium, on a stage. We have 4 microphones connected and it's a heated discussion, maybe a political discussion, and everybody wants to talk at the same time. Now then I can say, okay, I'm the moderator, my microphone has the highest priority, and there's one guy shouting all the time and talking in between, so I give his microphone a lower priority, and channel 3 and 4 would have a medium priority. Now as soon as I start talking, all the other microphones will be lower, and the one with the low priority will be even more lower in level, so that, even in a heated up discussion, I always get the right level. So again, here we have the mix agent technology actually on the background here, taking care of the mix, basically. Right on top of the Automix button, I see the recording button. So this means that I can record directly onto an SD card or to a USB stick, and I also can record to a PC or a Mac. And I will just show you the recording options in this screen here. So to the computer I can record in stereo, or I can record in multi-track up to 14 tracks. Why are we offering 14 tracks? This means that I can record all our inputs, and we have 12 inputs in total, plus the master. So I can record the main out on a separated stereo track. And this also goes for the micro SD or the USB drive. So this means that I can record in multi-track to my USB stick or to my micro SD card right here. And I also can choose to go on stereo here as well. So a lot of features here. And this also means that, let's say maybe you're using this on stage and you're a bit cautious, you don't want to use a computer for the recording, you want to record everything in the machine, that's fine. You just record a multi-track onto your SD card, later on you can take the SD card and then adjust the mix in Pro Tools or in Cubase or in Waveform or your preferred DAW. We have a couple of more features right here. I want to mention two of those. One is the auto ducking feature, which I really like. So auto ducking means that if, for example, I have some music playing back on channel 7, 8 or 9 and 10, and I'm the moderator, I just then start talking, and instead of having to move the fader all the time with the auto ducking, the music automatically gets lower as soon as I start talking. Another feature that I like is that we have a one-tap recording feature here, an option, and this means that when I hit the record button, the recording starts right away onto the SD card or onto the USB stick, without me having to press record first and then confirm the recording. So I hit record and it's now recording directly to the SD card, as it shows here by the red light as well. So that's the recording feature. We have a couple of more things. I showed you the channel settings. We also have built-in effects. I mentioned the reverb and delay. So here we're looking at our reverb, where I can adjust again the settings directly on our touch screen or using the smart knobs. Same thing with the delay. We have a couple of presets also built inside here. When I go on media, I can then play back files from my SD card or from the USB stick. So I have it all here. I can also rename them if I want. The snapshots is for saving the settings of the digital mixer. So everything will be saved in a snapshot, all the settings that you need. The sample page takes me to the sample pad. So this means I can edit my samples here. I can choose how the sample pad should react, if it's a retriggering or if it's a looping. For example, I can change the name. I can even edit samples, so change the duration, make fade-ins and fade-outs and so on. So a lot of options there. And we have up to, as I said, up to 4 sample banks here. All right, so we're coming to the end here. There's a lot more under the hood, but I think you saw the most important features here. As I said, we have this setup assistant with mix agent. We have the Automix feature, which is quite unique. We have the 4 independent headphone mixes, and this makes the DLZ Creator really your ideal companion for any podcast, for broadcast, for online radio, and other things. This could also be used in, on a live stage for a discussion or for a small group. So thank you very much for watching this video and stay tuned. Bye bye.